And then our next session is going to be with Cameron Cutler. The next 30-minute presentation is going to be the power of where. And in this session, Cameron will explore the growing needs for flexible service requests, what facility service requests are and why they matter, key solution features that drive efficiency, web and mobile capabilities that improve accessibility, and how these capabilities integrate seamlessly with AssetWorks. Please welcome me in joining Cameron Cutler.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me all right. Yeah, so just to give you a quick, you can go ahead and jump into the next one, Brad, actually. It might be easiest just to you to keep control. Give you a little bit of background about myself. 15 plus years in the product space, working in mobile and SaaS products specifically, across varying organization types and industries. But the last 2 years, just past the 2-year mark, have been at AssetWorks, working specifically in the EAM space and product development in what we're doing from a product piece there. And this falls right into one of the things I'm most passionate about is just being able, wherever it is, to be able to provide the best product and product experience, or develop enhancements and things for our customer sets and individuals that I've worked with. So to just make organizational successes, tantamount in what's going on for an organization. And outside of what I do from a work standpoint, I live in North Idaho, so this time of year is fantastic. A lot of outdoor things going on the water, in the mountains. As long as we can keep the fires away, then we're in a happy place for now. But we also know that it's getting darker quicker and winter is looming. But for the moment, we enjoy it. But enjoy spending some time with our family there. So I wanted to, as Brad alluded to, we can go ahead and skip to the next screen. Wanted to talk a little bit about today what we would consider, in this case, facility service requests, but being something that is not as intense right off the bat as what Doug was sharing and talking about in his great discussions around how to help your organizations. But this comes from a need for a flexibility in service requests to be able to handle things, right? We've got organizations need to be able to navigate ever-changing landscapes. They need to be able to find flexible ways to handle service requests as they come in, and to as I outlined here, there's some different challenges that come up, right? To just the traditional asset tracking for routine tasks, right? How are we supporting as an organization high frequency but maybe non-critical needs that come up but do need attention and do need to be acted upon quickly? And how do we go about prioritizing those versus the heavy lifts, right? We can't say that replacing markers or something that needs to be done for a whiteboard are going to fall on the same level of criticality as a cooler or something that needs to be taken care of, right? An HVAC system that's gone down and needs to be addressed. But these still have priority, and in the minds of those we are serving and those that we are working for, that those are just as much as an inconvenience in many cases. And then, of course, how can we manage that in a way that's done in a single system, or is connected to a system so that we can keep track of these across multiple things? So finding that flexible solution that works within that then also gives us the insight, the vision into what's happening, what needs to happen, and being able to distribute those out properly are tantamount, right? So as we're talking about this service request solutions, right? How the flexibility is, and we're going down, of course, in this regard, into the higher frequency, lower severity, but still need to be handled type of situations, right? So how can we maintain and how can we handle this? Let's go ahead and jump ahead. So refer to it as this one as a light bulb moment, just because that has a much better ring to it than referring to it as the toilet paper moment or something along those lines, right? The light bulb moment being that a light bulb needs to be replaced and it's been noticed by someone that it needs to be done. But how are those types of situations being handled, right? Those requests that come in. So what we're looking for here in terms of how we as an organization can better support these types of occurrences that happen and things that need to be taken care of, right, is what we refer to as a facility service request, something that is needs to be handled, but needs to be done in a way that can both speed up the resolution for how long it takes, where it reduces the downtime for how long a light bulb is out, how long a stall it may be without toilet paper, other custodial needs, things that come up that are not as major in involvement, maybe don't need to have an asset tied to them, but need to be efficient and need to be handled as in just the same type of a priority, or need to be distributed in a way that they can be acted upon quickly for an organization to do that. So as we refer to as a light bulb moment here, meaning just that's one of the ideas there. But again, from an aha standpoint of, hey, we do these other things really well, just like Doug outlined, and we can get into the weeds, we can get into the depth, we can get into the history of a lot of things that are going on in an asset or in a service request that needs to happen. However, we do have these lighter touch items that need to be addressed in just the same, and frankly, like I said, have just as much impact on the constituents that may be in those facilities as some of the other ones. It's just not as much as a heavy lift on the backside, right? And so what we're trying to make sure that among all these things and speeding them up and being able to provide these solutions is that it also has the capability of being incorporated into that full cycle of management within an EAM solution to make sure that we're tracking things that happen, that things that are accomplished, history that comes into there. If we see something that's constantly burning out in a room, that we can take a deeper look into those. Let's move ahead. Go ahead, Brad. Right, so wanted to talk a little bit about what we refer to as facility service requests, which is a solution that we've incorporated to handle these types of needs for organizations that meets those criteria, right? That allows us to do things in a simple but quick, expedient fashion, allows us to incorporate that into the full breadth of the software or integrate in a way that allows us to have visibility not only from seeing it and acting upon it, but if there are needs to edit or adjust or assign an asset to it once it's been seen in the system, that we can do that, right? But it allows us to manage the service requests with that flexibility, keep the accuracy, but without the overhead of the tracking and the internal accounting that happens. So let's jump so I can get into a little bit just about the nuts and bolts of how this works. So the title of this presentation was around the power of where. And so this is where we kind of get into this idea of using a location to be the driver of what is being reported and how it's being reported, right? This hierarchical view of, and I laid it out here in terms of your site, your building, the level it may be in, the area, the room. And as you are going through these things, not needing to know necessarily the asset or anything, but being able to say like, hey, as an internal person with access to do this reporting, that I can go in and say, yeah, I'm here, and this is where building I'm in, and this is the floor I'm on, and this is the area or room that I'm in, and there is a light bulb out. I'm in this restroom, and there is the soap is out, right? Type of thing, and being able to give that information, get that out quickly, and get that acted upon. So the key to this is, of course, that where is going on as much possible as we can in granularity there. And then finally with the what. And this falls back. I could relay this to a story. A few years back, when I was doing some training with a Boy Scout organization, they were doing some CPR and first aid training. And one of the things they talked about was, hey, if you have to call 911, the one most important thing that you can provide them with is your location. Where are you? That's what they want to know first, right? So we're taking the same approach here in terms of, hey, for these more often occurring smaller items that happen, how can we get them into the system in a quick manner, but with the most amount of information that is helpful to get the task done, right? If we know that it's a light bulb and it's in room 204 on the second floor, then that can be actioned upon pretty quick and can be distributed to those that need to do the work in an effective manner. So first part of that, right, of course, is that side piece. And then, of course, being able within this framework to also be able to take and assign or predetermine some things that happen based on those levels of hierarchy that happen. So at a site, there may be, okay, we know this site has these things available to it, so we can pre-assign some of the selectors within that. If I'm in the building, I know that I can do these pre-selectors within that. So you can narrow it down without an additional taxing on the memory or knowledge of the individual reporting it, that you can walk them through a little bit better of what's happening there. So as you look into how can I be more efficient in what we are doing from a facilities service request capabilities, first one is, can I easily report it based on location? Can I then provide some flexibility or agility into how it's being reported, but create a framework that does allow us to narrow it down in a way that is meaningful, both for the person that is trying to report what's going on and those that are receiving the request to understand where first and then what needs to happen. Go ahead, Brad, let's move ahead. So like I said, the power lies within the location and structure of what's going on, right? Can we route to the building location for supervisors or maintenance individuals to get and work on that? And as we do that, can we do it in a way that doesn't necessarily put taxing on the knowledge of assets and management there from an initial standpoint? There is, of course, the ability to then expand within those, but the initial reporting, can we get that information relayed quicker into our system for discussion, review, and then assignment out to be taken care of? Kind of finding that balance in the approach of flexibility and specificity is where the power of this lies, being able to understand what your organization needs to have done and how you prioritize that within there. And by focusing on the location and requiring asset entries for every time or item or space that happens, you can help reduce that administrative overhead that takes place, but you can also have a trail, a track record, and a capability of seeing what has been done, where you see, you can plan for the future better in this, knowing how often some things are happening. You can better be able to justify what staff needs to be where or how it needs to be done. You may even be able over time to be able to, where you have seasonality going on, to understand where those shifts need to be to best meet the needs of things going on in facilities, outside of facilities, and so forth within your organization. Go ahead, Brad. So a couple things from the advantages of managing your facilities within AssetWorks. I'm going to tie this back. Of course, facility service request is something that we have designed and have implemented and have tied directly into what we are doing at AssetWorks, but the advantages of how within any EAM solution that you're working with, being able to take from a simple request to then being able to have that action across that request are the key fundamentals to this. So being able to be responsive in the time that we take to get something done is the first and probably the highest measure from anyone that is using that facility to understand what happened. Hey, if I walked into a room and noticed that something was broken, and a week later I'm still like, this was reported, I don't know what's going on, if this has been routed, being able to better route those in an efficient way so that as a reporting happens a day or two, that this is immediately being acted upon is going to provide immediate or substantial impact to those that are involved to be able to know that things are getting taken. From a teamwork standpoint, within your organization, having that inside visibility across the organization for things that are coming in, things that need to be taken care of, just allows for better cohesiveness, better understanding, less siloed work, in that you can see, you can easily act upon those or assign them out to people in a way to get them action upon quickly. So it's a bonus, right? Being able to see that, whether it be from a computer screen, managing it from a tablet, but having those ideas of, hey, something's come in, I'm in this area, I can see this, I can act upon it. That it really reduces the amount of red tape or delays that are not on purpose, but just delays in process that we can work through. So part of the main idea or thrust behind this, of course, is can we do these things without tying them to an asset? While we do have service requests and the capability to do things specifically tied to an asset, and then where it's very appropriate in many instances for an asset to be tied to a service request, but for these other ones, being able to skip that portion of it and get right to the, hey, this has happened, how can we take care of it, is inevitably impactful to the bottom line of what you're doing. Less man hours, less people time being spent against record keeping and updating and routing of requests, makes just for a more efficient run organization in general. And then being able to take this from whether it be a single building or a small complex, to being able to go to a multi-site type of operation and have the same functionality work from this top down, as we outlined in the slide before, right? Being able to say, hey, this is the site I'm at, this is the building I'm at, this is the level or the room that I'm at. Being able to have it be more than just for a single location, have it be across a campus, across multi-site locations, and have those preset as you determine are important to you, or to what level of depth or not that you want to have available, but being able to have those reported again by anyone within the organization, but getting that where out there is really going to be what drives this the success of a facilities service request that comes through. Go ahead, Brett, let's jump up. And we touched upon this a little bit, but these go hand in hand, right? While we have the capability on computers to do a lot of the work, and software is, of course, the most in-depth and run within a web application as it goes, the ability to have visibility in from a mobile device on what's going on does extend and enhance, right, the ability to act on these even more quickly. As things are being reported in, they of course can be updated real time into these types of devices, and things can be actioned on in locations based on those, and seeing a list of things that happen, right? So being able to customize not only the web-based internal requests that come in, but also being able to see from a mobile standpoint what those are, being able to action against them. If I'm assigned to a certain location and things are being reported, that those are then becoming into my visibility, whether it be through a crew or an individual. But then again, having those individuals being able to, through responsive design applications or through native applications, be able to say the work they have done, or in some cases to be able to also report and say, hey, this is what I found, using that same tool is going to really impact or it to enhance how an organization can manage these what we'd call high volume, lower lower complexity items that come through the door but need to be addressed. So as part of that, and we reiterated, as you're looking at solutions that can help with this, especially in the mobile space, you need to be cognizant of, can I do these both in an online connected, which for facilities is a pretty obvious way of going about it, but there are unique situations where, hey, I'm going to be down in the depths of the boiler room or somewhere where connection might be spotty. Can I have the capability to still function in a way that I can see, I can do work against, I can do some of these things in what would be considered a pseudo offline mode that is then reported back. So those are things to keep in mind as you're looking through solutions that you're doing. Like, can I do it? What's best for our facilities and our local locations? And can I do it best for how our connectivity is? And just be with the connectedness of organizations and facilities that are coming now. We're always hopeful. We're always optimistic that there's great coverage, but I say that with knowing that there, even within my own house, that there are a couple places where connection can be a little less than perfect. So it's knowing what you're working with and what will help you out best there. But definitely, as you're looking through these, whether it be facility service requests, which is something that we offer, or whether it be how you're looking at it for your organization, definitely key in on what mobile and responsive design type of capabilities do we have to get away from a desk and be able to do this, because it's just a quicker report back and forth. You even closing the gap on the time that needs to be done for those to work. Okay, hop on. Next one, Brad. Again, like I said, fully integrated. What are we doing from a standpoint of the work that's happening? Is it being shared within our systems in a way that is centralized? Can we do that work? And can it be seen in a way? Can it be measured in a way? Can it be tracked in a way that is helpful? Is it the ability for it to be scheduled exist, or is it things that can live in an unscheduled world, right, for work orders? Understanding what your processes are, the flexibility to do either or both in terms of how your work is accomplished. Then, of course, as it's integrated, does it allow us to plan and to track and to see completion within that single source of truth, within a single platform? That's ultimately the big picture goal of understanding not only the work that's being done, but from a big picture standpoint, the funds that are being allocated here, how are they being used? How are we being effective in what we're doing? What are we accomplishing? And being able to communicate it back to the stakeholders within the organization to understand that, yes, these are the things that we've gotten done, and being able to even in some cases show, here's where we've shown improvements of being able to get to these things 10%, 50% faster because we have implemented these facility service request processes, or how we have improved our internal workflows to make sure that things are not falling through the cracks. Go ahead, Brent. So just as a quick recap and trying to get us back a little bit on time and where we are, removing the requirements of asset-based tracking was the impetus, the driver as this solution came about. How can we go about this? How can a facility service request happen in a way that is the least amount of friction, less cumbersome, can be applied against the broadest amount of people within the organization that we want to be able to report this in a way that we believe will be accurate and give us the information we need to a level we can act upon it. Right? Secondly, does it support a high frequency non-critical service needs? Can we get those higher volume into the system, through the system, without having to be, my time is up, be able to clog up for other things that we have coming through that involve assets and other things like that. And then of course, being able, how can we prioritize those based on internal reporting? And that goes back to the hierarchical view of how am I doing this from a where location? Being able to establish those things, I can bypass some of those other hoops of decisions for priority based on just the location themselves, and then whittling them down within those predetermined things that can be set up within the software. And I think as later in today's presentations, Tom will probably walk through a little bit and give a quick glimpse into how that looks within the software itself. And then again, like I said, Tom's going to demo it. It's available today in what we do within the current features and the future for both existing customers who want to take advantage of this and ones that want to explore AssetWorks as a viable option for them and their organizations and their facilities organizations to work with. So wanted to just give a little bit of thank you for first letting me share a little bit about facilities service requests, some of the concepts behind that. Yes, some of it is definitely tailored to some of the solutions that we provide, and you're going to get that from a product person that works in AssetWorks, but that's some of the ways that we work through those things. Look forward to any questions you may come up with, or later today in the happy hour, if there are other things you would like to touch on around that, I'm happy to share some thoughts or expand on some of those concepts for you. Thank you.